Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Attacker FB.2. This is a currently 7.0 BR Rank 5 premium fighter in the Great Britain Air Force's tech tree. This vehicle currently costs 8,020 Golden Eagles when not on sale and comes with 15 backups. With that said, in this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about this fighter, including its stats, how it plays. I'll go over its strengths and weaknesses, I'll give it some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation and if I feel that this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. With that said, if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing, but without further ado, let's get into it. Now to start, I'll place a stat card here on the side of the screen. Important things to know are its turn time, its rate of climb, and its armament. Now for how it plays. Well, this is an early jet, which means that in large part it plays somewhat similarly to vehicles like the P-80, F2H2, Meteor Mark III, and other allied designs. Also, the Attacker FB.2, or just the FB.2 as I'll be calling it in this video, is functionally identical to the Attacker FB.1. The only difference between this vehicle and the FB.1 is that the FB.2 has a slightly upgraded engine. The thing is that these upgrades do not increase the engine power and were in real life just upgrades to reliability. Because reliability means nothing in War Thunder, the FB.1 and FB.2 are functionally the same vehicle, with the only difference being that the FB.2 is a premium. But that said, the FB.2 has a very good, if not great, armament that is comprised of 4 Hispano Mark V cannons, of which do very well on this fairly nimble aircraft. This combination will allow you to confidently get into dogfights with most enemy fighters outside of MiGs and come out on top, and even still do fairly well versus the famously agile MiG. Further, the FB.2 has a good, though not amazing, rate of climb that will allow you to climb up to at least as high as most other planes at the start of a match, which gives you the option to destroy bombers and even boom and zoom with ease. You can also carry up to 2 1,000 bombs to go after bases, but I just don't feel like it's worth it, at least not when you spawn into the match. Believe it or not, despite the name Attacker, this aircraft is not a strike aircraft and thus does not have an air spawn. For this fact alone, I would only advise to equip bombs after having reloaded and repaired at your base once most of the enemy is destroyed. The Attacker just isn't fast enough to go after a base with your own airfield as a starting point while being also weighed down substantially by bombs. If I had to summarize this aircraft and how it performs, it's basically just like most other similar BR Western designs, except that it feels slightly better relative to BR. It's almost kind of like a generic plus plane, if that makes any level of sense. Now for CAS, the FB.2 is a bit different in that it's not all too capable. Specifically, despite its name, this vehicle can only carry 2 1,000-pound bombs at most, which do decent damage against ground but substantially limits your ability to linger and go after numerous targets. Worse yet, these bombs cannot be dropped sequentially, so you really only have one chance to drop them. Otherwise, you have 12 mediocre RP-3 rockets or 2 500-pound bombs, neither of which are nearly as good as your 2 1,000-pound bombs. And although you can be capable in CAS, but you just have to learn to drop your bombs wisely, provide air cover against enemy planes, and strafe poorly armored ground vehicles. If nothing else, you can't go through the rooftops of most enemy ground vehicles, at least if you use your ground target belts. Unfortunately though, the FB.2, like the FB.1, is very limited insofar as CAS is concerned. Now with that said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses, and first for its strengths. This vehicle has a very good armament of 4 Hispano Mark V 20mm cannons. Second, for its BR, the Attacker is actually fairly fast, with a top speed of 922 km per hour. It also has a fairly decent rate of climb. Third, this vehicle does have a good dive rate. Fourth, believe it or not, it has surprisingly good maneuverability. Fifth, it features air brakes. And finally, this vehicle features premium RP and SL bonuses. Now for its weaknesses. Despite visually looking like a decent CIS aircraft, it can only carry up to 2 1,000-pound bombs, 2 500-pound bombs, or 12 RP-3 rockets. This isn't terrible, but it really isn't good either. At best, it's average. Second, both bombs drop simultaneously and cannot be dropped individually. Third, this vehicle has a large amount of energy bleed whilst turning, of which is not easily regained via the low engine power. Remember, this is one of the lowest BR jets in game. It takes a while to accelerate. And finally, because the cannons are mounted far out on the wings, they can be somewhat difficult to aim due to the lack of gun convergence. Now with that said, let's get into how I score this vehicle, and for dogfighting in the Air RB, I give it surprisingly a 7.5 out of 10. Yes, Yes, this plane is excellent in terms of air RB and dogfighting. While it doesn't look the part, the Attacker FB.2 is a surprisingly nimble and powerful dogfighter. Between its great top speed, good rate of climb, good turning rate, and great armament, this vehicle is extremely capable. In fact, as of the writing of this review, between, again, the functionally identical FB2 and FB1, I have a 3.3 to 1 kill-death ratio. And that's including playing these as CAS aircraft, where I did not earn any air-to-air kills and were probably killed in those matches as well. This vehicle looks deceptively boring, but its very good performance as such a currently low BR means that the FB2 is surprisingly fantastic versus aircraft and can even drop bombs on bases for extra points. Now for close air support, I give it a 3.75 out of 10. This might be a little bit generous. The Attacker is basically the opposite of how it is in air battles. Despite its name that would imply that it's a powerful strike aircraft, and despite its appearance as such, the Attacker FB2 is merely subpar in this role. Don't get me wrong, it can get numerous kills per match, but between its ability to only carry 2 bombs of varying sizes or 12 mediocre rockets, it isn't going to earn a high amount of kills per match. Heck, its bombs also drop at the same time as each other, which contributed to this low CAS score. If nothing else, it can still earn kills via its 2 relatively large 1,000-pound bombs and can strafe with its powerful 20mm cannons, though air cover is likely what this vehicle will be best at in terms of ground RB. Now overall, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Yes, I know, 6.5 out of 10 is not the average of the aforementioned air RB and ground RB scores. Rather, I weighted its air RB performance more heavily, as that is going to be how most people use this vehicle. If you plan on more so using this in ground RB, the average score for this vehicle would probably be like 5.625 out of 10. Regardless, so long as you primarily use the FB2 as a fighter, it is surprisingly excellent. As stated before, between all of its performance, its current BR, and everything else, it is a great plane to fly and can even be used for CAS, though I would only do so if you have few or no other options. Though to be fair, the British don't really have any good CAS aircraft outside of the Strike Master, of which is currently a marketplace plane only, so good luck getting one of those if you haven't already received it. Put simply though, for air battles the FB2 is fantastic, though is subpar at best for CAS and poor at worst in that role. Now with everything said, do I recommend the Attacker FB2 for purchase? No, but I don't not recommend it either. This is a boring aircraft with limited CAS capabilities. While it is surprisingly great or even excellent versus enemy aircraft, it lacks any sort of pizzazz that would make it exciting or unique to play. Plus, at over 8,000 Golden Eagles, you could just as easily purchase the far more fun Sea Vixen, or for a bit more, spring for the Harrier GR1, of which is also a rank higher and will thus allow you to grind through more of the tech tree without any penalties. It's kind of funny because while I have done very well this aircraft while I've played it, it just doesn't make me want to play it at all. Maybe the only people that I recommend to purchase this aircraft are those that exclusively care about grinding and really nothing else, as this is more than sufficient to do the job well. But for just a little bit more GE, you can easily add quite a bit more fun with the Sea Vixen, and for just a touch more than that, more grinding capabilities for the Harrier GR1. Also, this vehicle does not receive my Tankenstein seal of approval. This is a very odd review, but even though I really love this thing for air-to-air, again, it just wasn't fun. I enjoyed doing well with this vehicle, but it just felt very beige. The Attacker FB2 was a weird though successful experience for me, and that's probably about the best way I can put it. Now with that said, thank you all so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Additionally, let me know your thoughts on my video and on the Attacker FB2 in the comments below. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care everyone.